the theme of this year's investment conference being around stimulating or boosting growth and investment. And one of the key ways that that's done, in fact, one of the ways the President and the Presidency continue to tell us it's going to be done, is through infrastructure development. But now the industry in itself has been shrinking in the last 3 years. In fact, last year it was the only sector in our economy to register a decline in GDP growth, unlike all the others that grew despite what happened in the pandemic and the rebound. Joining me now, in fact, to talk about some of these inhibitors and how the pledges don't necessarily translate into real, tangible business is Mr. Webster Mfebe, who's the CEO of the South African Forum of Civil Engineers in the country. It's the largest organization of such engineers in this country. Mr. Mfebe, we are here on the outside the convention center where the government are trying to raise an additional 500 billion in investments. But as we've seen previously, some of these pledges don't always translate into actual numbers. And that is a concern, correct?
Yes, that's a great concern. But however, I want to start by saying this is a moment to be excited as a South African. This is a good initiative led by the President, because our economy still remains a sub-investment grade a country. We are a sub-investment grade in terms of the ratings agencies. Yes, they do not translate necessarily into the numbers that are required. We are excited that 64% of the pledges towards the 1.2 trillion have been raised, but there are inhibitors. The inhibitors lie in the fact that the implementation is very weak at government level in various ways. From the public infrastructure plan that has been announced, there are a lot of rollovers. We do not see any significant movement in terms of that. That is one aspect of public sector investment. But private sector investment, which should drive actually the economic growth, there is a problem with the permitting and licensing system. If you have to start a factory or do anything, you need authorization, especially from the municipal level. There is a lot of red tape that is there. And also, the problem is that the middle management of government, I place that at the level of chief director, who are the buffer between the DGs and the ministers and those below them and the people who are applying. There needs to be consequence management to ask why are the licenses and permits are not coming out. Because you cannot do any economic, cannot undertake any economic activity without those having been approved. There lies a problem.
I want to talk a little bit more about that, because I think government identified that as a significant weakness, and so a red tape office was created in the presidency headed by Mr. Nkosi. Do you not expect that division to succeed?
I think that's a good move by the President. For an example, apart from being the CEO of the South African Forum of Civil Engineering Contractors, I'm also an investor and an entrepreneur, where our project was showcased in the 2019 investment conference, which would attract 10 billion rands, the Limpopo Eco-Industrial Park. But for 5 years, we've been waiting for the award of a water use license for the dams that have already been approved by the Department of Water and Sanitation. And only now, 5 years later, we are told that no, the process that was followed was wrong. You need to start a new process. That is a problem. We do want foreign direct investment. Actually, South Africa at one stage was the most favored destination in Africa for foreign direct investment. Now we're number 3 after 2 countries. And we can go back there. If these things do get fixed, the red tape department or initiative with the appointment of Mr. Siponkos, who is a highly achieved CEO, will only succeed with the cooperation of the various departments. The President has noted, he himself, when he was a businessman before joining the government and became a president, he said he waited for 3 years to get a water use license. That cannot be the case.